What's up guys, it's Aiden, and today we're going to go through how Future's Mask Off was made. Let's get into the video. This song was produced by Metro Boomin, and I really wanted to remake this song for a few reasons. Number one is I feel like this beat is pretty universally loved. Although the beat is simple, I feel like the things that Metro Boomin has done on this beat, he's done very well. So I not only want to deconstruct the beat, I also want to try and dissect why the beat worked so well. We have all of the original samples from the original song produced by Metro Boomin, which I will be proving throughout the video. I'll be showing you that these are the exact same sounds that we use. And a big shout out to the sponsor of this video, Unison, helping to make these videos possible. I specifically asked them if I could do another video talking about their plugin Mangler because I've been using it a lot in my own beats, and I want to give you guys recommendations on plugins that I actually use. For example, I made this beat the other day and I used Mangler on the 808 and the kick. This was the 808 without Mangler. And I like that sample, but it wasn't punching through the mix enough, especially in the high end, so I added Mangler, and I boosted the Mangle knob, which is a hybrid digital/analog distortion and compression. Then I boosted the Destroy knob for a bit more heavy distortion. So with Mangler, it's going to sound like this. Then I also added Mangler to the kick. So together they sound like this. Big thanks to Unison for sponsoring this video. Let's jump into the remake. Mask Off samples another song called Prison Song by Carlton Williams, and we're just going to be sampling the first 10 seconds of the song. Right off the bat, one of the reasons I think this song is so special is because of the sample. The flute melody from this sample is really catchy, and this is a pretty old school retro type of sample to use, so it's adding that human element to the beat. So let's bring that sample into the project. And for the majority of the song, we're just going to be using this first 4-bar loop. So let's chop it out here. Then as you can see, the sample doesn't line up with the project. The project is at 150, and you can see that the sample is a little bit faster. So let's drag this sample up to the tempo. So now it's going to be in time with the project. Next up, we're going to go into the audio clip and bring down the pitch by 2 semitones or 200 cents. And this sample loops over itself for the majority of the song. Then we're going to add the sample to the mixer, and we're going to add some effects to it. So first off, we have Gross Beat, and with Gross Beat, you can affect both the time and the volume of the sample. So for the time settings, we're going to be choosing half speed to make it play twice as slow. Then for the volume, we're going to be adding a sidechain preset. This is affecting the volume of the sample, so how loud it plays over time. And as you can see, we're adding this pulsing effect, which sort of mimics a sidechain. But we only want this effect to be playing in the intro, so for the first 8 bars. So we're going to go to the preset here, go to the mix level, right click and choose create automation clip. And this is automating the mix of the effect, so we're going to bring this down when we come into the drums. Then next up, we're going to be adding some RC20 retro color for some distortion, reverb, low pass filter, and bringing up the tone. That's getting closer. Next up, we have some compression using Fruity Compressor. Then finally, we're adding Fruity Parametric EQ2, just boosting up the mids and slightly bringing down the highs. So this is the end result. Then we're adding one more effect, and this one isn't obvious, but if you listen to the original song, you'll definitely hear it. We're adding Gross Beat a second time, and we're adding this vinyl off effect, which would mimic a DJ slowing down a record. And once again, we're going to be automating the mix of this because we only want it to come in at this last part here before the drums come in. So I added in a second automation clip, and that's going to sound like this. Pretty subtle, but if you listen to the original song, you'll definitely hear that effect. And like I said, this sample pretty much plays throughout the entire song. We do have this second part of the sample coming in a little bit later though. And that's a nice little switch up from Metro Boomin, keeping the sample from becoming too repetitive. And you can see this comes in during the break and in the outro. Next up, we have the identical 808, which is just the Spins 808. This 808 is still to this day the most popular 808 you will find in hip hop music. And And with the 808, what I feel like Metro Boomin has done so well is, for one thing, the 808 isn't just playing the same note the entire time, because since this beat is pretty simple, if it was just playing the one note, it might get a little bit repetitive. But at the same time, he's keeping the 808 pattern very simple, giving Future plenty of room to rap over the top. Then also the 808 has a second pattern that it plays, and it switches between these two patterns throughout the song. And that's a nice way of adding variation to the arrangement. Keeps the beat from being boring, which would be an issue that you could run into if you're making simple beats. If we compare the 808 sample to the original song, it matches perfectly. However, as you can see in the original, the 808 plays for longer. So to do this, we're going to go into the 808 sample, right click on it and go open in audio editor. So this opens up Edison, where we're going to loop the 808. So we're going to zoom into the 808 and find 2 points where the 808 could repeat over itself. And we're going to go Control L to make a loop and just hit accept. Then we're going to drag this 808 back into the sample. Now you can see the loop has been added to the end of the sample. So now if we export the 808 pattern into the playlist, you can see here that now the 808 plays for long enough. Next up for the clap sample, the exact clap sample that was used in the original song was the BWB Wave R Us Clap 10. We're actually bringing up the pitch of the clap by 10 cents, and we're playing it not at C5, but down at B4. And you can see this was done by comparing the EQ of the clap to the original song. So that was the identical clap. Next up we have the identical snare, which is the BWZY Snare 4. And that's going to sound like this. Once again, we can tell that this is the same sample by comparing the EQ. So this is the original and the snare. Same sample. Next up, we have the exact kick sample that was used, which is just the rack kick. And finding this kick was a little bit confusing for me, because listening to the original song, it sounded like he was using the rack kick, but if we compare the waveforms of the rack kick to the original song, it doesn't match with the waveforms. What's happening here is, because the 808 and the rack kick are playing together and they're both low-end instruments, we're seeing here what it looks like when they play together. So we can tell looking at the waveforms that the 808 was not sidechained to the kick, and instead Metro Boomin would have used something like Fruity Soft Clipper on the master. So if we export this audio and bring it back into the playlist, now you can see the waveforms matching up with the original song. Then finally for the hi-hat, we're using the Hit 1 hi-hat sample. What's interesting here though is we're taking down the channel pitch by 47 cents, which once again you can see by looking at the EQ of the original song compared to the remake. And like the 808, the hi-hat plays 2 different patterns that it switches between, once again adding nice variation in the arrangement. So it starts off the beat with a basic 2-step loop. Then later on, it gets a little bit more complicated, adding in some hi-hat rolls. So with all that together, this is the end result. By the way, the next video on this channel will be a what I've learned from remaking over 150 songs. So this includes both released and unreleased remakes for the channel. And that video will be part Q&A. So I'll be posting a story to my Instagram where you can ask me questions, and I'll be answering those questions in the next video. That's it for the remake. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.